Let's take a look on a model that will show us how the company can grow. Well, every organization will go through several stages and we'll describe them on this simple graph. On my vertical axis, you can see the size of an organization, from a small company up until the big corporation. And on my horizontal axis, you can see the aspect of time, or in other words, the age of an organization. So in the beginning, our companies begin as small and undergo 5 phases until they are considered mature. What is very important to remember is that in each phase there will be one factor that will allow us for growth. But at the end of each phase, we will have some crisis, so something that will cause that this growth will stop. So we will need to solve this problem somehow. Hence, let's begin with the first phase. On the very outside of each company is some entrepreneur. This entrepreneur has got some great idea. Thanks to this, firm can grow. So in the first phase, we grow thanks to the creativity. But the problem is that this our manager or entrepreneur has to work on many functions and does not pay enough attention to effectiveness. Well, and this obviously has to pay off in negative way somehow, unfortunately. Our customers and employees will find out that the entrepreneur is not the right person for such a business. What will pop up is called the crisis of leadership. So we move to second phase. The problem of leadership or trust to our person can be luckily solved easily. We just hire someone who will take the responsibility for management of the company. Hence, we will grow through new direction. So we hire new management team or we can undergo some sort of rebranding. Thanks to this step, we will achieve new level of, at first, standardization and secondly, monitoring in our company. Our organization is now prosperous and growing again. Well, everything good has to end someday, and so we are getting to the crisis of autonomy. This is caused because the creative people, thanks to which we have grown in the first phase, will now feel frustrated because they no longer have power over the performance of organization due to all these new standards that we have introduced in our company. Well, we can solve even this problem through the delegation of authority. So we will delegate some extent of power to lower level managers. Thanks to this, we will encounter, for instance, higher responsiveness because creative people in our company will have more power over the solution of problems. Problem will arise in our top management team. Corporate managers now feel that they lose control over their own organization. So we call this situation the crisis of control. Natural reaction to this phase and to this problem is the attempt to re-centralize the company again and the decision making. But this time we will not do it just intuitively. We'll have some plan and spend more attention with it. So we will search for a balance between all the bipolar functions and the aspects in our company. So we will start to monitor more our activities and we will increase expertise. The problem that occurs is of course the bureaucracy. So all these new procedures no longer causes increase in effectiveness, but just that our functions are more and more complex. That is of course negative, so we call this a bit weirdly the crisis of red tape. And so we get to the last phase where we will grow thanks to the collaboration or so-called the coordination. We will try to bring more spontaneity, and this is very important. So more spontaneity into our company again. It can be inside our company or when our employees work with customers. We can, for instance, create the product teams. But what is rarely important is that our company will now move from mechanistic structure to the organic one. And just this will finally allow us for great adaptability and responsiveness to market expectations. And this is where our model ends, and what can occur after this phase is not really defined. This is due to the fact that companies here will differ so much that we cannot generalize it somehow. So, this was the model that shows us how can our company grow and what we should be aware of.